Hello, and welcome back to another video by Semantics Matters. Today we're going to be answering the question, what's the deal with gender? Gender is a particularly interesting case because, until recently, the word gender was enormously uncontroversial. Well, not anymore. In today's society, gender can mean one of two extremely different things depending on who you're talking to. Group number 1, traditionalists. To a traditionalist, the word gender means one specific thing, biological sex. Traditionalists define gender according to genitalia, chromosomes, and reproductive roles. To a traditionalist, there are only two genders, male and female. Group number 2, progressivists. To a progressivist, the word gender is more of a personality trait than a physical reality. Gender is, to a progressivist, the sum of a person's sexual preferences, interests, hobbies, dispositions, brain chemistry, etc. In short, it is their identity. To a progressivist, gender is more about masculine or feminine than it is about male or female. Because masculine and feminine are largely undefinable and exist on a spectrum, progressivists assert that gender also is a spectrum. In other words, there are infinite possible genders. When we break it down, we see that traditionalists and progressivists, though both using the word gender, are talking about two very different things. This leads to confusion and even conflict when the two groups intersect. Let's look at a few examples. Conflict number 1. There are only two genders. To traditionalists, this is a common sense statement. At conception, every living thing in the animalia kingdom is either male or female. That's scientifically true. To a progressivist, however, this is an ignorant, oppressive, and offensive statement, as it minimizes the difference between individuals and suggests that everyone's personality must correspond with their genitalia. Conflict number 2. Gender is a personal choice. To a progressivist, this is a common sense statement. Gender, like all personality traits, should be left up to the discretion of the individual. Society should not pressure them into liking certain things or identifying a certain way. To a traditionalist, however, this is a wildly radical and dangerous assertion. To suggest that you can change your biological sex, something that's innate within every one of your cells, simply by declaration, sets a precedent of denying reality and supporting delusion. Conflict number 3. Personal pronouns. Both traditionalists and progressivists agree that he and she should be assigned according to gender. The challenge is they both define gender differently. Traditionalists believe that personal pronouns are descriptors of biological sex. Progressivists believe that personal pronouns are descriptors of personal identity. Conflict number 4. Man and woman. Just like he and she, the words man and woman, boy and girl, have recently become controversial. Traditionalists, of course, believe that man refers to a person who is male. Progressivists, by contrast, believe that a man is someone who identifies as being masculine. Whether you're a progressivist or a traditionalist, a little understanding goes a long way. The next time someone says something about gender that you find offensive, take a step back and consider what they actually mean. If you can learn to speak precisely and listen carefully, you'll find that most people disagree a lot less often than they seem to. Regardless of how they use the word gender, most traditionalists agree that men can be feminine, women can be masculine, and there are infinite combinations in between. Most progressivists agree that biological sex comes in two varieties and that it wouldn't be healthy to insist that you have genitalia that you don't. Your typical traditionalist is not trying to put other people into boxes. Your typical progressivist is not trying to undermine reality. When we actually talk about the details, we tend to agree. When we use the same word in different ways and assume the other person understands, well, that's not good for anybody.